Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about tail shafts for 727 automatic transmissions. Let's get to it. When we talk about a 727 transmission, the typical one you'll see has this long tail shaft here. Comes out of a car, two-wheel drive trucks that have a standard cab. Most of them that you run into will be this. There are two other options. There's this guy, which is a short shaft. It's an 8-inch shaft. And then there's actually one that goes in the middle here. I kind of wish I had one to show you, but I don't feel like buying one because I don't have any need for one. They're typically out of an RV. Oftentimes at the end of the shaft, you'll see it's actually got a brake drum that is a parking brake or an emergency brake. I'll see if I can get a picture of one, put it up here if I can find it. At any rate, these are the two common ones. All of the books that I see talk about this guy and how to rebuild it. Nobody ever talks about this one. And this one, it's not the same. It's different, and it's got some real strange things going on. Let's take a look. Other than the obvious length difference, there's some other differences between the two. The long shafts typically have an output that looks like this. It's just splined all the way to the end, and there's a slip yoke that runs down on top of it. The short shafts, however, take a yoke like this that goes on, and then there's a nut that goes on here. So it's got a threaded tail piece. To remove these, there's a snap ring that goes right in here. And you have to use a pair of circlip pliers, and you reach in here and open it up. I've already taken it off of here. It looks like this. So this circlip is accessible through this little window, and there's a little cover with a cork gasket. But this will sit down in there like that. So this is your tail shaft support bearing. And then you just reach in here, get a hold of that. This opens it up, and then when you pull on the shaft, the shaft will come out with this bearing. This bearing sits on the shaft right here. It's right between these two grooves, and there will be an external snap ring on both sides. That just holds it in place like that. And then this ring holds it in the case. All well and good. Easy to take apart. Pretty common. The short shaft, however, has a bearing right inside here. In fact, you can kind of see it, and then there's a seal here. Once you take it apart, basically, you have to take this seal out. The bearing will be sitting all the way down in here, and there's a snap ring that holds it in place right here. You have to take that out. Don't try just flipping it over and pressing from this side. You have to take that snap ring out first. Then it comes out fairly easily. So here's the fun with this shaft, and it's about this bearing. If you look up the part on Rock Auto or whatever, they're going to try to sell you this. It goes all the way down here. It's supposed to sit right there. It's the wrong bearing. So if you order it based on a catalog, you're going to get the wrong thing every time. Here's a bearing that fits on here quite nicely. Perfect fit. So we got, what part number is this? It is a 6206 bearing. Perfect. We just order a 6206, right? Here's a 6206. Doesn't fit. 6206 bearing will not fit on here. This same 6206 bearing does fit perfectly down inside here. So outside diameter is right, but inside diameter is not. If we look at these two bearings, This is the one that doesn't fit. This is the one that does. Outside, they're the same. Height, they're the same. This one has a groove in it, but that doesn't actually matter. This one is about 1.2 millimeters different on the inside. It has to be 1.2 millimeters larger to fit down on there. So whilst this says it's a 6206, it actually is not. This bearing came from Brewer Performance. They actually have to take a 6206 and use a grinder and have this machined out on the inside to fit. This is not a standard bearing, and I could not find one anywhere at all except Brewer's. Most places don't even acknowledge that this thing exists. I found 2 transmission places, well, I guess 3 that admitted the existence. One didn't have it in stock. The other one would only sell you a good used bearing. And then Brewer had these brand new, ready to roll out the door. They're about $50, so they're not cheap, but you've got no other option if you have to replace this. So there you go. The fun of a short shaft. Thanks for watching.